Hello guys, Dieter here with another live stream from Beer Idiots. Finally, I
Uh,
got somebody very special for you guys. He studied zytologie at Sintra in Leuven, Belgium. He was also the brewer and barman from Het Brouwateljee in Leuven. Then he started his own, I think, charity beer brand
even
brewing
niet
thing
online, ja.
called
Even
Malterfakkers.
niet online.
Wat blieft?
Sorry, excuseer. Nee, nee.
Yeah. And then now he's a docent at Sintra at the course Zytologie. Welcome, Steven
Hi
Bollion.
there.
How are you doing?
Hi there, I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, good, good. Seeing the circumstances, we're locked up.
Yeah, everybody is.
Yeah. So tell me, how is it going now? Your recent project at Brouwhuis.
No, it's called Het Brouwateljee,
Oh,
but whatever. That's not that's not the problem. Well, fine. Well, fine. After I quit Leuven and my bar over there, I went to Lubbeek, which is a town very close to Leuven. Let's say 10 kilometers, something like that, where we opened a brew pub. And in the first place, it was, of course, hard work to get the pub stuff done. So I did my brews, which I did already before, but not in my own brewery. So I was paying to use a brewery somewhere. Um, I sold them there, but then we bought our own brewery, and then we started with that. So and now we're almost 1 year later. Everything is going the right direction. We had
okay.
some legal disputes, some things that didn't went wrong very well in the beginning, but yeah, so these things happen. So let's say that government stuff, is not always the same thing as guys who are entrepreneurs. But okay, we're
Yeah.
busy. I'm busy.
All right. To rewind a little bit in the beginning, how did you started with beer? You did the course at Sintra Zytologie, but did you already had a beer background, or how did the passion kicked in your life?
Yes, I was. Well, already in the 90s, I worked in bars in Leuven, and we even there before, let's say, the real beer hype was there. I already had, let's say, for example, all the Trappists in my pub and so on. It was a student-like pub, but we already had quite a lot of local breweries. We had quite a lot. Well, all the Trappists that day. There were only six Trappist brewers in the world. But well, so I had my background over there, and then I
That
started
was M
another
Cafe, yeah?
bar. No, no, that was way before. I'm talking
Oh,
about the 90s, and it was Café Charlotte on at the Oude Markt in Leuven.
a
Uh, it
student
was
student
a
bar then, really.
it was really a student bar with
Ah,
loud
okay.
music till 6, 7, 8 in the morning. Yeah, so we did that, and after that, I did a tourist bar in a park, and there
Yeah.
our focus was on the local brewery. So I live in Vlaams Brabant, which is region central in Belgium, the east side of Brussels, and we went for the new local breweries to have them on tap. For example, we had the just starting Het Nieuwhuis, which is a brewer from the beer Alpaide. It's one of it's a dark triple. We had the brewery of the Vlier on draft, who had his first beer and so on. So that was with a very local and small breweries. I was pouring their beers already, promoting them and so on. So and then now I'm talking about something like 2005, something like that, I think.
Okay.
Um,
And how did you
yeah,
make the switch between like how did you roll in the student bars in the beginning? Was it like you were graduated and then it was like you rolled into the life of a barman or
no, I was already a bartender when in my student years, and well, you know how these things happen, right?
yeah.
So yeah.
And then you started M Cafe. You were the owner.
Yes, indeed. So at a
Oh.
certain point, Museum of Leuven, the M Museum, started up in 2009, and the year before they asked, well, we need a bar there in the museum, And I said to yes, I'm interested, but I want to do another concept than just pouring coffee and giving
Yeah.
cakes
Yeah.
to the local. And they said, well, that's a good idea. So in the beginning, I started with the project I already did before with the local beers, and there were two candidates to do the bar in the museum. That was me and AB InBev. So
Of course. You were in the Hall of the Lion.
it, it was fantastic. But the museum said, well, you need to offer us something in money, but you also need to offer a concept.
Yeah.
And it's like a 50-50 thing. It's like if I could have it, well, of course, AB InBev has way more money to offer than I do, but I went for the project with the local stuff, local butchers, local breweries, and so on. And so I did that for 9 years then.
Oh, 9 years. Okay.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yeah. It was not always that easy because the in a museum bar it's difficult. It's difficult. You have like
Okay.
sometimes you have the regular customers who come then, and after a while you have quite a big crowd. But then the museum organizes a very good and decent exhibition, so the whole bar is full. Certainly for 3 months, full of people who are going to visit the museum. So the locals who used to come there to have lunch or have their beer, it's like, oh, well, it's overcrowded. Well, it's too busy. And then after 3 months, you don't have any regular customer. Well, any,
Uh,
but you don't have an exposition neither. So it was
yeah.
quite difficult.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's a quite difficult business to do. But the brewing stuff started in that period. I
Okay.
started to brew. Well, the first beer. Well, I did some brewing projects before because I followed in let's say what was it? I think 2010 or 2011. I'm not sure anymore. I did a brewing course. With oh sorry, there's a stupid little fly here. Okay, I did a brewing course with Hildegard van Ostade, which is a lady who from in Flanders. Well, she's a brewer. She's really a decent brewer. That was my first really well getting to know more about the brew stuff. It's like not just putting things together and hope that it becomes a beer. It's like more the chemistry after it. Hildegard van Ostade was the brewer of the Urtel beer before they became part of the what is it nowadays, the Amstel group. I'm not sure, or whatever. It's Dutch these days. And that's where I started it. Then I did, of course, like everybody, some homebrews, and then in the museum there was a very nice exhibition which was called what was it called? Vesalius, indeed, Vesalius, about the beginning of surgery, that kind of stuff. So about the human body. So I said, okay, I want to make a beer with this. It needs to have the color of blood. So then you come, of course, with red fruit. So it became a kriek. It still exists nowadays. That was the first beer, which was a very simple blonde beer with Pilsner malt, with some wheat in it, slightly soured up, but not too heavy, with simple saus hops. And then we put Schaarbeekse krieken for 5 months in the lagering as well. And that became a really nice kriek. I'm quite proud of that. I did that together with Marc Andries from the brewery of De Vlier.
Okay. Yeah. And then
First steps over there. Yeah.
yeah. And then you left M Cafe or how?
Yes, because I wanted to start up the brew pub I always had in mind. That was not possible in Leuven. It was not possible in M Cafe, of course not, but it was not possible in Leuven neither because it's too expensive over there to rent a house with that
Okay.
that kind of possibilities. I also know that well, the beer market is way overcrowded these days. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take the risk to buy or rent something for thousands of euros a month, because I'm not sure whether this will work out. If this work now for now this works out in a very small way, and I want to keep it local and small. That's fine for me. It's okay. I have the bar thing where I can make my money, and I have the project of the brewing, which is of course I make money of it. That's not. I'm not ashamed of that, but
Mm.
I can't live from the brewing, of course. So I need
Yeah.
something else to do as well, and that's what I like. I like both worlds. I like the bartending stuff. After all these years, I still love it. But it's nice to do the brewing stuff as well.
Yeah, so that was not possible to combine that in the center of Leuven.
It probably is, but I don't have the money for that. Nowadays there are people. Brewery of Breda is
Mm-hmm.
trying it in Leuven now. They make a range of quite classic beers, beer styles like a triple, an amber, and a special Belge, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Um, but these guys are doing it in Leuven, but I know it's hard for them as well. They work together with Delvaux in Neres, for example, to brew their beers for the moment. But the thing is
yeah,
that they want to plant their own small brewery in the center of Leuven as well. I hope it works out for them, but I don't want to take that risk. It's very risky business to start up.
yeah,
And well, nowadays with this Corona stuff, it's completely whoa. There's nothing left for
yeah,
bars
yeah,
for the
yeah.
moment. It will come back. I know. I know. Everybody needs beer someday.
Yeah, now these days, if you are under contract by a big brewery who in Belgium most of the times owns the building, then it's
Yeah.
still better, I think, because they say you have to pay less rent because we don't want you to go bankrupt. But yeah, you cannot do your own thing in locations like
Ah,
that.
no. Well,
Yeah.
in my bar, I have 12 taps, and I have 3 taps that I use for AB InBev products. Not because the bar is from AB InBev, but because I want to do that. And then you get some of the benefits of Big Brother AB InBev, and then you get some benefits of doing stuff your own. So I work very good together with AB InBev. They have their It's something completely else than what I do, and I don't care. I work together with Coca-Cola as well, so that's not the point. As
Ah,
long
okay.
as I can, as long as I can do my own stuff as I want to do it, I'm not ashamed of serving the local beer of Belgium, which is Stella Artois, in my bar as well. That's okay because I have some locals over there who are completely not interested in the brewing stuff, but just want to have their beer on Friday night. Well, here is your Stella. Welcome. And in the end of the story, one day or the other, they try one of my beers. And I have several customers who started up with a Stella or a Duvel and now are decent customers of my own beer. So that's fine. That's good.
Yeah, yeah, true, true, true. And tell us a bit, the Malterfakkers, how did that started then? That's your own side project you started with a friend?
Well, yeah. Well, actually, it's my nickname as a brewer, Malterfakker. It started as I want to create my own beers. After that Vesalia stuff, which I did for the Creek, which I mentioned before, then I started to do this. Well, indeed, you have here a picture of vanilla stout, for example.
This one, huh?
Uh, yeah, indeed. It's called I Want More. That was the first thing I did under the name Malterfakker. It's also, well, as you see, perhaps, I don't know whether you can see the label for now, but in the label you see the the colors of the beer, which is a very dark brown beer with just some red influence. It's stout with some
Some
cherries in
cherries
it.
in it.
Um, oh, there's something wrong with. No, okay, that's okay. I wanted to do something else than the rest. So there were 2 things. I wanted to do a more beer geek-like stuff, not to exaggerate it, but as a side project, just because I wanted to try for the love of the brewing stuff. Um, I still do it now. I brew some beers under the name Malterfakker. Uh, After this, I want more. I started with the Spacelord stuff, which is a decent stout, always plus minus 9 ABV, and each year it comes out in another with another side ingredient. The first thing was called Spacelord, was in 2018, was called Spacelord Cosmic Coffee, which was the
This one?
of course.
No.
Well, that one of 2019, very nice. Was
Uh-huh.
the Habanero Heaven? Was a stout with habanero peppers.
Yeah, I tasted that one at, of course, at your bar, but also at the Zitos Festival. And I
I had it.
remembered, like, I like spicy food and all, and it's like, but this is spicy. It
It
really,
was it was quite exaggerated, spicy indeed. So, and I had that remark for several times. But on the other hand, I also had, well, this beer was voted as the fifth best beer by customers on the Zitos Beer Festival last year.
oh,
Perhaps
really?
because it was, yeah, because it was something completely different than what people were used to. So that was quite a surprise for me as well. The Space Load for this year, I brewed it 2 weeks, yeah, 2 weeks ago, and it's now in. I put it in lagering yesterday. Will be will have the nickname. Well, it's Space Lord, as you see here, is Space Lord Habanero Heaven. From this year, it will call the Peated Planet. Space Lord the Peated Planets. I use some peated whiskey malt, but not that exaggerated as the spicy version because that was perhaps slightly overkill.
Yeah. Also, talking about the Zitos Beer Festival, of course, near
Yeah,
your hometown in Leuven. How many times did you were there as a brewer with your product?
only twice. Only twice.
Okay.
Yeah, it's and that's because well, Zito's Beer Festival is okay. You do something for the people who love beer. That's what I want to do. But on the other hand, Zitos is that big that most of the people. I'm not such a commercial. My business as a Malterfakker is not that commercial, so it's not necessary for me to to have people from I don't know 200 kilometers from here to know my beer. It's like I want my local people here to know my beer.
Yeah,
For,
yeah.
by that time, now I have my own brewery, so I can brew more. I can put more effort in it, put more work in it. So that can change. That can change now. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I remember award-wise, your beers, some of them are doing quite well, also on Rate Beer. Can you
Yes.
tell me a bit about rankings and what sticks and what not in things you brewed over the years from the beginning until now?
Sorry, I don't think I completely understand your question because the sound was gone for some
Yeah.
seconds.
So,
Tell me.
award-wise, your beers score. Some of them score very good in rankings. Let's say on Rate Beer, I'm thinking on the Schaarbeek's Cherry and so. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, like award-wise or ranking-wise? What did you notice? What sticks as a product, and what do people catch up?
Well, I know that my Vesalius, which I brewed together with the Vlier, was the highest fruit beer on the rate Belgian fruit
Hmm.
beer, excuse me, on ratebeer.com. Well, I must say that the lambic based fruit beers are another category than the regular fruit beers. So, to be honest, didn't brew a Schaarbeekse Krieken from Driefonteinen. That's ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm quite happy and I'm pleased that people appreciate my beer. I really do. Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, no, that's it. I really do. I really do it. I do it for myself, but I also do it for other people. I want to do something else, but on the other hand, as I told you, I have a bar as well. I want to do
hmm.
normal stuff as well. So in Het Brouwateljee, I will continue to brew my Malterfakker beers, but I also have another line from the Het Brouwateljee itself, and
Ah,
there you will
okay.
find beers under the name Brabants, and that's really not too heavy stuff. It's like we have a Brabantse pintje, which is
Okay.
very similar to a regular lager. It's not a lager. It's from with high fermentation, but it's very drinkable and not too not too s- not well not too too many special tastes. It's like just to have a quick beer. We have Brabantse Triple already, which is a full-bodied beer. Let's say thinking about the beers like Westmalle Triple, that kind of stuff, which is with quite a lot of coriander as well. Then we're starting up Brabantse Witte for summer as well
Mm-hmm.
with the wheat beer. Um, but on the other hand, I do continuously also stuff with Malterfakker. As I told you, I started with a new Spacelord. Uh, for now, I have with this Corona stuff. I have something. You see I saw it scrolling over there. Hops for Hope is a
Mm-hmm.
project where it's based on a Weizen, and I put it. Well, it's in between a Weizen and a very smooth IPA. So with quite a lot of
What a strange
fruity.
combination.
Well, with fruity hops. It's not a strange combination, but I remember in my youth, if especially elder people drank a Weiss beer with a lemon in it. So why do not
Oh.
skip the lemon
Huh?
and use the right kind of lemon-like hops instead? So then you have the smooth IPA with Weiss beer with the lemon-like flavors from the hops, and that's what I did over there. It's 5.7, I think, in alcohol. Uh, it is ready, but I'm not able to because it's now the Corona crisis time, so I can't open my bar. But it's good. I love it. It's a real summer beer. Another thing I'm doing now, they ask from a quite big American brewery to do a worldwide collaboration with quite a lot of breweries, more than 500 in the world. With the other half, you can know perhaps you know brewery other half, and there I will brew a New England IPA, their recipe, and I brew it in my brewery.
Okay. And you mentioned the name Brabant beer. Like, is it then? It's a brand you bring out, but it's
Yes,
not.
indeed.
It's a brand. It's a sub
It,
brand.
it's a sub brand from from my brewery. It's like we'll split it up in Malterfakker, more
Mm-hmm.
the alternative stuff, and we the other on the other hand Brabants, which is more things that people know, people who are not really
Yeah.
into beer, but that's what I want to do.
Yeah. And what is then like? Let's say distribution wise, is it like you can buy the brands in the local beer shops? Do you aim on
Well,
that, or is it like low? Or is it like a couple of hectoliters and that's it? And
For now, it's a couple of hectoliters, which I pour in my bar. Sometimes it goes to some other beer geek bars as well. But for now, I filled up the first thing and now on the small bottles, 33 centiliters,
mm-hmm.
which wasn't before. Uh, and you can order it, let's say, starting after this Corona crisis. Via this more specialized beer business. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you deliver on the local bars in Lubbeek, Leuven, also with that brand, or is it like?
If they want to do that, yes, but for me it's not necessary. It's like I'm quite happy if people who are into the beer business want to pour my beer even for one barrel or something, but I don't care if my beer. I don't want my beer on every pub in town because I want to brew my beers and not to become too big. That's not the point. That's not the point.
Yeah,
It's
you
for
want to
the
keep working with the brewing and with the owning of the bar instead
yes.
of the business side and the
Yeah.
distribution and all that
I
nonsense.
don't become happy of being a distributor or somebody who is behind this screen for 2 days a week because I need to look over 400 Excel files. No, I want to brew and I want to do my bar. That's what I want to do. That I'm happy with that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, indeed. Um,
definitely.
so tell us, at Brouwateljee, I was there already once in my vacation,
Yeah, yeah, I
and
know.
yeah, I saw the infrastructure there. How did that came together? Was it a long process of finding a good location, then renting it, refurnishing it, and stuff like that?
No, no. On the contrary, it was. it was an existing local bar for from the 80s, I think, of the last century, but it was closed for a few years. We had quite a lot of room over there to keep the bar. We keep quite a lot of the accents of the bar, which were more like well, really a 80s brown
Yeah,
local
yeah,
bar. And then we put some new elements in it. For example, a wall with 12 taps. Well, the brew pub style wall with the taps who come out of the wall. You know,
yeah. I
you
hear
don't see that very often in local bars in Belgium. But that's what I want to do. I have quite big parking space slash terrace in the back where we grow some of our own hops. It's Cascade hop.
you.
Um, and well, then we have the brewery part in the back. It's the rent I pay over there is very reasonable. I can't do that somewhere else. So that's why I chose for that location. It is, on the other hand, a difficult location because, well, there I was in Leuven, and in Leuven you have uh, what is it? I think 100,000 plus minus inhabitants, and then you have 50,000 more students hang around in one city.
Yeah,
Yeah, in Lubbeek, I think there are no more than in the center of Lubbeek, no more than 5,000 people. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. Indeed. So you really also you also need to attract the local commune there because it's not a beer gig bar to be. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, yeah. We don't. I try to offer, besides my own products and the products from, for example, I also sell Artois and Duvel, but I try to put something else on the list as well, so that
yeah,
people
yeah.
who come there can
Complementary. Yeah,
indeed. So I have stuff of quite regular stuff of founders or Mikkeller, some of the foreign breweries. Yeah, but also local stuff like stuff from the pubs, the breweries I mentioned before, like the Vlier or Kraike, or yeah, they're always welcome. So yeah,
yeah,
but
cool. And the brewing part there.
yeah,
The infrastructure you have there, you have a lot of smaller lager tanks there, and how does that work? Let's say I want to make a beer, or you brew your own beers there, of course, but how does that go? Is it people reserve it, or you need to book it, or what is the concept in depth in that?
yeah, you can brew your own beer with me. So in very small. So the problem is if you go to Anders or stuff like that, it's always like 20
Yeah, so
hectoliter.
you receive
Even
the
small,
tanks.
yeah, indeed, smaller breweries you have like 5 hectoliters. But here we can brew your own beer for your fiesta, or for your the birthday of whatever, or your marriage for 20 years or whatever. You can brew it in that 200 liters. So that's not too much. But the only thing is, I don't brew it for you. I want to brew it with you. So you come over, you and two or three more other people, and we brew it together. In the first place, we discuss what we want to brew, so it will not be my beers which are put in a new jacket, in a new bottle for you. No, just let's discuss what do you want to have, what do you want to brew, and we do it together, and that's the main concept. So I can explain to you how the brewing process works,
Yeah,
and at the end of the story, you can tell you, well, I brewed this beer, and that's not a lie. So you really did brew that beer then.
yeah, yeah, and you also educate the people then, and you give them advice
Yeah,
on how to do the
indeed.
process. Yeah,
Yep, that's it. Yep, indeed.
yeah.
Yep.
Um,
So, yep.
Also, you also give class now to Cynthia to the Zytologie.
Yep.
How long do you do that, and how is it to be a professor?
Ah, professor. Um, I do it for, well, I think it's my fourth year or fifth year. I do it. I give them in the cytology course. I give the food pairing parts in the first and the second year, and do some of the, let's say, more theoretical things, courses like history of beer, beer and health, that kind of stuff. And then I also do one course, which is the white beer course for the the brewers. So you can follow education to become a small brewer over there in Sintra as well. So in there I do the module of the white beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you came along? It was they asked you, or it was like, let's do that and knock on the door.
Well, they no, they started it up the 2 years before I came there, and then at a certain point they looked for somebody. I did that education before, and then
Hmm.
they started to look for somebody else. Quit the job over there. It was who was it? The guy who worked for Duvel Moordgat, but he went down to Germany. Damn, Nicolas Soenen was his name.
Yeah.
He did that before me, and then yeah, now I do it for some years. I really love it to do that. That's also everything I do is something around beer. It's like I work in a bar, I own a bar, I brew. I do some education around beer, and
Yeah.
sometimes I give some workshops, or I do this interview with you. It's
Yep.
well, as long as there is something to do with beer, I'm there.
Yes, indeed. Um, yeah, and with the brewing process, how many batches do you do then in, let's say, a year with people that say, I want to make my own beer? Is that like a huge part
No,
also
no,
of
no,
the?
no. It's like 10, 10 a year, something like that. It
Okay.
will be something, yeah, yeah, no more than that. I need I can do in small batches. The kettles you see over there are 3 hectoliters, so I
Mm-hmm.
can do 200 till 250 liters a time. I have 10 of these kettles, which function as fermentation tank, but also as a lager tank. So what you hear says fermentation process. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that means that I can skip quite a lot. I can do 5 brews today if I want to, and then I have 5 kettles available for fermentation and 5 for lagering, and so I can do quite a lot of stuff in the same time if I want to. Yeah, but never
Yeah.
too big batches. So if somebody asks me, well, I want 450 liters or 5 hectoliters, well, I do it in 2 times, but that's okay. Then I'll do it. So yeah,
Yeah, indeed. And you also fill them in barrels.
I fill them in barrels, and now just 1 month ago we started to fill up in 33 centiliter bottles as well. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because people are asking. Before we did it already in 75 centiliters manually. We still do it manually. The filling up. Well, if you have this amount of beer, you can do that manually. But
Yeah.
if this will become the problem with a bottling process, if you're a small player, is like it's very expensive to buy a bottling accommodation, a bottling machine. It's really a big thing to buy. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And tell me a bit, the Schaarbeek's cherry beer that you made.
Yeah.
You told me that you only had 90 bottles left. Are they all gone?
I think I have 4 or 5 for myself, and that's it. Yeah, I'm afraid they're gone. And it is an ending process because last year I didn't have any Schaarbeekse Krieken. So I decided to quit that thing. I'm going to leave the Schaarbeekse Krieken for the guys who really needed the bigger Lambic
Hmm.
brewers in Belgium. So keep the Schaarbeekse Krieken. I will do something else. That's okay. I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Future-wise, what are your ideas now tintling in your fingers to make the next couple of months?
First of all, next week I have I have people who would have come to brew their own beer with me.
Yeah.
That is not possible due to the COVID crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So I will brew it for once. I will brew it without them. I'll brew it myself, but it will be their recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, strange time, so other rules. Then I do the next week. I'll also do that collab brew from other half. Um, that looks nice. Never did a New England IPA before. And then in the series of Brabants beer, there
Mm-hmm.
is an there is something missing for winter time. Well, I know summers must come, but I'm already thinking later on. So
You're
and
thinking of the winter
there
beer.
yeah, yeah. Well, if you want, I will try a first thing for a double, for a very classic brown beer. You know, the 7% of alcohol, ABV, and so on. That's what we're going to need next winter as well as a normal beer. And then I have an idea of um a white session beer, which is will all my beers are named somewhere somehow. The Malterfakker beers are named somewhere somehow with an eye on the music, on old musics. Like for example, I Want More. You had a bottle before. It's I was a huge fan of Sister of Mercy when I was younger. It's
Ah,
referring to the song More by Sisters of Mercy. You see it in my logo over there. It looks a bit like Andrew Eldridge, the singer.
yeah.
And the Spacelord is also named after a 90s band. And
Yeah, the
well,
Malterfakkers have a real punk sauce over the brand, eh?
yeah, well, not a music source because my session IPA will be called Nights in White Session. So it's
Ah,
not always punk. You see, yeah.
yeah. All right.
I, I have also a hoppy blonde beer, which is called, for example, Hobo Hop and Slobo, which is after the whale song Hobo Humping Slobo Babe. And it's all it always has to do something with beer. So with music, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Final question.
Yes.
If there is a definition of craft beer, if yes, what is it?
That's a difficult one. For so, for example, well, if you say craft is something you do yourself, but you can do that in
Mm,
20,000 hectoliters. You can do that in 1 liter. So that's the thing. If you go to the brewery, a big brewery like well, like AB InBev, if you come over there, everything is so industrialized, and
mm-hmm.
it's like if you enter over there, it's like the NASA control room. There is no craftsmanship anymore. It's like everything is
Measured out.
computers and so on. That's not what craft is. Craft is if you feel your materials, if you feel your ingredients, if you work with it. That for me that's craft. And craft is not only a brewing thing. It's like you see the same in the butchery industry or in the bakery industry. You can go to a huge industrial line, uh, and they make probably quite good bread, and then you go to your local bakery and you see him busy with
Uh,
uh, making his bread with his ingredients with the flour and so on. That's what I like about craft. For me, craft is not a synonym to quality, for example, because
okay. Yes.
quality is something you you make quality. You say I we're going to make product A with this and this and this and this and this and this and this specifications. And if you do it like that, you have a quality product. Well, in the craft beer scene or in whatever craft stuff, quality is not really an issue, I think. Quality,
Mm-hmm.
it's more like you want to have an honest product. And if the quality is something not exactly what you had in mind, that's not the point. That's not the point. Make decent stuff, make good stuff, try to do something new, be creative, and that's craft. So I love craft stuff, but it has nothing to do with quality.
Ah, all right. Nice last words. All right,
Don't agree with me.
Steven.
That's not necessary, but yeah.
Yeah,
Tell me, Dieter.
your webcam is fading away, so I have to say goodbye. Thanks for the interview, and
No problem.
see you soon after the COVID lockdown. Eh?
I will.
All
Keep
right.
yourself safe. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.